Here we go. So guys, I want to talk to you about the Return of Heroes lock-in and the three options you might have right now, okay? So the three options you're going to have is either you're going to have all of these cards and you lock them in for Wilt. You have all of these cards and you sell them for MT. Or you don't have these cards and you go about picking them up. So I want to run through all three of those options, whether they're good ideas, bad ideas, in my opinion. Obviously, all of this is my opinion. One thing that's worth noting is, if you look at DBG's Twitter today, some people have seen Return of Heroes guaranteed packs popping up. So that will affect this video in some way, depending on when those packs drop. So I'm assuming they've done some sort of test. I think that's what they've done, and people have managed to catch it and get a screenshot of it. But we don't actually know when they're going to pop up. They might pop up before Wilt, which would be big. They look like they're 30,000 VC packs for guaranteed. I don't know how many options you're going to get, but the reality is there's going to be a couple of cards that are going to go for a lot, and the rest are still going to stay relatively cheap. That's how it always works with these lock-ins. There's always going to be a couple of gatekeepers, one in particular, and the rest will stay cheap. So I'm going to go through it today. So the one thing that's absolutely true is this set has gone up by about 2 million, like literally 2 million MT since they announced Wilt. We're going to go through them all and have a look at like roughly how much they cost, okay? So Bill Russell, let's find him. So he's sitting at 250. He's come down a little bit from yesterday, but it's still a 250,000 MT. I'm assuming Katie's going to be about the same. Yeah, he's probably going to go to 250, maybe 300. So you're looking at 500,000 MT just for those two cards there. I think Tim will be still cheap if I'm guessing correctly. Yeah, but not as cheap as I thought. Yeah, not as cheap as I thought. So he's sitting pretty high still. Yeah, I think he's probably going to go, it's probably 80, 85k towards the end. But that's certainly not as cheap as I thought he'd be. Kareem, yeah, I think that's going to go to like 250. The thing with Kareem is like, you know, he's a card I run. He starts for me, so he's a good card as well as a good lock-in card. So AD's still roughly where he was. But we're already looking at 1 million MT just for this top pro. We're looking at 1 million MT just for the top 5, right? So if that continues, you're looking at 3 million for this lock-in. So let's have a look at LeBron. So LeBron, I know, is going for quite a bit. I mean, he's going to go up to 250, 300 as well. That card will not sell for that. Jordan, I know, has gone through the roof. Okay, he's come down a little bit from yesterday, but again, he will go for 300, 350, guys. That card's got 2 minutes left. Let's have a look at Kobe. So Kobe, I mean, it's hard to tell here, but I'm assuming it's going to be around 200. 7 minutes till the last one ends. The fact that he's rare means that price is going to go up. The less of them they are, and as soon as people start locking them in, Kobe's going to go through the roof because he's very rare. Giannis, he's going to go for about 250, I reckon, as well. Again, a great card. I use him as well in my squad. KG, I mean, this card is just bad. It's objectively just bad. It's one of the few cards in this set that's just not good, and you can see he's going to clear 200 as well. Let's see what Wade is doing. I'm assuming he's cheap. Yeah, see, not as cheap as he was. Like, he's okay. He's not too bad. So he's around. He's going to be around 70k if I keep scrolling across. But he was down at about 40 at one point. Hakeem, is he even a buy now? Because he was for a while. Okay, he's sitting at close to 100k. I'm assuming if I keep scrolling over, it'll be 85 to 90. That's roughly where he'll be. So he is a buy now. He's the third buy now we've seen in this set. Steph's gone through the roof. This card was literally 40k. But he's got up to closer to 80 now, as you can see. He's another one that will get rarer. I think it's probably sitting around 65. Let's have a look at Powell. And Powell is cheap. So Powell was literally going for peanuts. I think I got mine for 35k. But you can see already he's got up. So let's talk about whether you should lock him in first. Right. There is 3 million plus MT sitting here, I think. I think it's 3 million plus MT sitting here. So you've got two choices. You either lock it in or you sell them. Now, if, like me, you pick these up before Wilt was announced, you're going to double your MT. I've spent about 1.5, I think, on these cards. Maybe even less. Maybe less. I was pretty thrifty with the way I picked them up. I looked for, not necessarily snipes, but, like, you know, cards that were 5, 10, 15k cheaper. Nothing major. But, yeah, I didn't sort of try to overpay for anything. I tried to make sure I could at least make my MT back if I sold them for the same price. So I would double my MT. 3 million MT sitting there. Let's say after tax it's like 2.5. I think it's actually going to be closer to 3 after tax. That would put me at 4.5 million MT in my account. So my two choices are I lock in for Wilt for for 3 million MT, guys. Let's think about this for a second. 3 million MT. I'm locking in for Wilt. Or I sell these cards and get the MT. Now, obviously, with Wilt, you also get the other things. You get the Hoff badges, you get the tokens, you get the shoe pack. And that stuff will help you generate more MT as well. So if you think, like, if I lock this in now, I reckon off the Hoff badges alone, I can break even on Wilt. That's what I think. I think if I use those Hoff badges correctly, I can make 1.5 million MT. But I have to use them correctly to do that. But I'll make a lot of MT back just off, you know, adding a bunch of Hoffs to cards and selling them in the auction house. So it's very risk-free to really lock in for Wilt. It really is. And the Hoff badges really are the thing that make it do that. Like, you're not going to end up... If you picked up these cards before Wilt was announced, you're not going to end up losing a huge amount of MT to get Wilt. He's going to be not free. You will lose some MT. But I reckon... Unless you completely, like, fumble the Hoff badges, you're going to get Wilt for less than 500,000 MT. That's what I think. Obviously, if you use the Hoff badges and keep them and not flip them, then yeah, he'll cost you 1.5 million MT, which is what you spent on these cards, which is still a bargain. And obviously, you get all of these cards as well. Because, like, you know, if you saw my video earlier, I ran through Jordan on TTO, this one right here, and I had an absolute blast. So there's a lot of cards in here that I would use. So it is a good idea to lock in. But it's also a good idea to sell, guys. If you've got 1.5 million MT that you've spent on these, and you can sell it for 3 mil, I just want to put things in perspective really quickly, because this seems like the biggest no-brainer lock-in we've ever had. But guys, we've had 3 endgame cards in 2 days, and also, you know, Dirk was released, and on the same day they announced Wilt. So everyone went crazy for Dirk. Like, at that point, just think about the hype we had at that point for Dirk. It's not different to the hype we have at that point, this point for Wilt, right? We were like, Dirk's the best card in the game. Be like, he's so far ahead of, way ahead of all the other cards. And then they dropped Wilt, and suddenly Dirk wasn't that anymore. He's still incredible and still worth getting, and I don't think it's devalued him at all. But the community thinks it has, because Wilt is now available. In the next couple of weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks, we're going to see multiple endgame cards get released, including Yao, including Kareem, maybe Luka. Probably Luka as well. At 3 million MT, if you sell all of this, 3 million MT will get you those cards down the line. So you'd give up Wilt now, but you'd have the MT to go and get some incredible endgame cards in a few weeks. And I am talking weeks, guys. We're approaching the end of June. So by the end of June, I guarantee you there'll be at least 4 or 5 other endgame cards out. So both options are great options. It really depends what you want to do. You're looking for Wilt. You're going to make a bunch of MT back. You're going to get Wilt Chamberlain, which is amazing. You're going to get the tokens. You get to keep all of these cards, which I also think is a win. I think 10 of these cards are, very good cards in the game and all worth running. So you get all of that, but if you go the route of selling, you're going to get the MT, which you can use later to pick up some even more overpowered cards than Wilt, because there will be. I know it doesn't seem like it right now, but it didn't seem like you would get a more overpowered card than Dirk for a long time yesterday, and it took like 6 hours for them to announce Wilt. So both of those are good options. Now, should you pick these cards up if you haven't got them yet? Guys, no. It's a really, really bad idea. You're going to sink 3 million MT into getting Wilt. At that point, it's a very different conversation to having picked these cards up for 1.5 million MT already. Because you've doubled the amount you're spending already to get this card. And you're going to effectively throw away 3 million MT to get Wilt when you can use that MT to pick up cards in a couple of weeks. If you haven't got this set, don't get baited by Wilt. I know it's good. I know the Hoff badges are good as well. But that 3 million MT, I guarantee you, if you hold on to it, in 2 weeks, you will get a better outcome than getting Wilt right now. You really will. Like, I don't see how you can't. Again, Wilt is great, and it's a lot of fun. And if you want to use Wilt, this is probably the most important thing. If you just want to use Wilt, then lock in for it. If you've got the MT and you want to use him, lock in for him. We are at that point in the game, guys, where it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Use any cards. Like I said, I'm using this Jordan, and although it's Jordan, how many officers has he got? 35. I wouldn't describe this card as overpowered, but he's like the most fun card to use in the game. You know how much I love Steph. It just doesn't matter. Use the cards you want to use at this point. So if you're like the biggest Wilt fan in the world, like, Ty says he's the best player in NBA history, like, pick him up and use him. He's going to be absolutely cracked. I don't think you'll regret it either way. I think the one scenario where I can see the regret happening is not now, but in 2 weeks, if you drop 3 million MT on this card, and then you see a card that you really, really want as an endgame card, and you could have got him if you didn't lock in for Wilt. That's the only scenario I could see where this could go wrong for you. So yeah, that's it, guys. Those are your 3 options. Whether you lock in or if you've got the cards before Wilt was announced, if you lock in or not, I don't think you can go wrong. You're either going to get Wilt and all the other rewards that come with him, or you're going to get a bunch of MT. You're going to make a bunch of profit. So lock in, you know, pick up another endgame card later. Both of those are fantastic options. You're either going to make MT or you're going to get Wilt relatively cheap. But the one thing I would not recommend doing, guys, is at this stage picking up this set if you don't have them. Like, if you've got 10, 11, 12 of these cards, sure, complete it. But if you've got, like, anything less than 10, I wouldn't even think about it. That's my opinion. All right, guys. That's the video. I hope this helps. Until next time, thanks for watching.